Dmitriy Veronica, nice to have you here. And let me introduce my friends. They are a cruising family, so they live on the boat with their four kids. And today it's my pleasure to have you guys here. And maybe you could tell a couple of words about yourself, just to introduce a little bit.
Okay, well, first of all, we want to thank you because it's our first interview, and we are on a boat for 2 years now. Simply had enough of land life and wanted to find a way to spend enough time with our kids. I think that's the main thing. It's not really about where we live.
When people ask me, how do you describe yourself, or how did you start living on the boat, I find it very hard to trace exactly the starting point of that. But going back to my childhood, I did find that there was a lot of literature that I was reading about the sea, about sailing, about naval adventures and things like that. So, and I remember in my high school, I wanted to go and study in the Naval Academy. For some reason, I didn't. I know for what reasons, but I always wanted, and somehow everything turned around, and it came back to live the life that I wanted to live, or let's say to have the experiences that I wanted to experience without paying the costs.
How the decision came to you? Because you were living the time when I started to know you were living in Cyprus, so you already had the family. So how come that you finally decided to, change your lifestyle completely?
Yes, we were living in Cyprus. I had a long career in banking and in venture capital, so life was very good. I would say probably written as a script by the typical person, how he is expected to live, to finish university, to have a family, have children, have a job, get promoted, and things like that. And after our fourth child, I started questioning the whole concept of that, because it just didn't make sense to have children and not being able to spend time with them, not spend time with the family. And I decided to simply quit my job. Yes, it was a lot of thinking, many sleepless nights, I would say, considering the risks, sometimes sharing that with my friends, and they were saying, you're completely nuts. How can you even think of such thing with 4 children, quitting your job and things like that? But I said, well, look, if I need to give my children a family, time, and also for the kids an example of how they should live their life, how they should chase their dream, how they should follow their own pursuit in life and happiness, then I should be the example of that. So yes, it is a risk, and you should make the step. So I would say the tipping point was many factors, but one of them was that we had children that required time from us to spend with them one-on-one or together as a family.
I'm just thinking that this is quite a leap of faith for you both. Maybe Dimi, you were dreaming of sailing, but Veronica, for you, it was like really trusting in what's going to happen. That's not an easy path.
Well, I have to. Yes, it's very difficult to trace the root cause of something, because it is like a seed. Under the right condition, some dream or some idea can materialize. And I believe I even told Veronica, it's not really even about the sailing, it could be anything else as long we are together. So that was the key. And on a personal side, as long I am free. So I think this is the seed of freedom that was within me, that under the right conditions, it just came out to become a reality.
And how did kids react? Like, you definitely were discussing this with your kids, but were there any reservations from their side, because they might have the friends here in Cyprus? So, how was this process going?
Okay, I will try to answer. The revelation that I got is that in kids, there is so many dynamics, because when they grow, they change their perceptions all the time. And they are actually very flexible in that respect. What I mean is that before, I had a feeling that one of their kids is more open to sailing, is more accepting, is more excited about it, but the other one is on the opposite side. What turned out is completely the opposite. And now they seem to be changing back again. And, this is happening all the time. The age, though, still plays a big role. But somewhere in between, let's say, from birth until maybe puberty kicks in, kids, they're just programmed to follow you and be happy as long as they are next to you. So it doesn't really matter for them. But after that, they start to develop their own opinion, their own perceptions, their own views, and then you can't really be sure about it. But I can also say that we've been doing this for 2 years, so I can see that in general, kids are very adaptable, and they find ways, even if they are not happy with what we are doing. I think they find their own ways to achieve what they want to achieve in different settings. Of course, they miss their friends, and that's normal. But then I notice how little time they spend in reality with each other back on land. And I'm saying, are they really missing out anything in the end? Of course, it would be easier to see each other, at least doing the same activity, like going to school, they could see each other. But then they would miss out the opportunity to meet so many different people. So it's like a give and take.
When actually this is the first time I start thinking maybe in a bit of different way with the children, maybe a couple of months ago, is that it is true that there is an age where they become a lot more independent in their thinking, in their thought, in their choice, and they insist on that. So it's normal part of their development. So whether it is on land or on the boat, it will be the same thing, or in the moon, anywhere, it will be pretty much the same way they will evolve. And what I have noticed is that it's not my own opinion, is I'm looking at the things from their own perspective as they give me a feedback, whether they like something or they don't like something. I would say it's maybe 50-50. They are for and they are against. But then I have my own view of observing them on the side, and I can see that they have a lot of benefits, which probably they don't consciously realize, or they have not given it a thought of that. The other thing is that in such an environment where they cannot, I cannot say it's a void, but they cannot actively get feedback from similar age peer groups. So for them to kind of benchmark and see, okay, I'm like this, I'm like that. So for them is a bit tricky. So I think they have the benefit of many aspects of choosing their own time, structuring their own time, pursuing their own interests, being a lot more independent at an early age than in other circumstances. And what strikes me is that the common thing between such children that are living abroad and let's say those that are living on the land is that these children, they tend to go and make contact immediately. They are not wasting time, they are not shy, they are very open, and underlying point between all of them is basically making connection, which I think in life is probably the most important thing. If you don't make a connection, then you are by yourself. I think that's going to be very beneficial to them. Not the sailing experience, the sailing environment, and getting used to being adaptable in so many different circumstances around different people, down different countries, between different communities, in different with different languages. So you see, it's flexibility and making connection here that they are too too young to realize that.
Let's move on to more practical things, because I'm super curious on more like how do you actually guys doing this, because I know that you are still working, and it would be important probably to mention like what kind of job do you do, how do you make your living sustainable, and how does it work in terms of like how does your day look like. Let's start with this. How is the average day on the boat with the family?
I will do the average day. Of course, it differs whether we are staying in the marina, which means basically like at home, very similar, or we are on anchor, means we are sailing, we are moving from place to place, and there is it's more unpredictable. Let's say everything is unpredictable. So if we are staying in the marina, then we really try to grab the chance and focus on things that are hard while we move. And just to give you an idea, we are on the move more or less half of the year, half of the time on the move, half of the time stable, relatively stable. And let's say now, if we take a typical day, that would be in the morning, we take it easy. It's not the same as the mornings used to be. What I mean is all this rush and stress of getting them ready and driving and then finally. So this is not non-existent here, though we do have some structure. I mean, they start the day like I suppose everybody else. They prepare themselves and they have breakfast, and then in the first half of the day we focus on work and learning. And here the elder ones are mostly very self-sufficient and independent. They do things that they chose to do, and don't take me wrong, they are not just doing nothing. They are actually very focused, and focused to such a degree that if they are not given a chance to learn and to do what they want to do, they get very upset. So they are doing their own thing, as I said, and educational. Educational. And the younger ones are usually by my side, and I try to spend maybe 2, maximum 3 hours of focused learning with them. And I would combine some fun stuff with a little bit of more work stuff. What I mean is maybe writing, maybe something else, some experiments, but they do have a bit of that. And usually by 11, 12 o'clock, they are free. They're free to go. And in fact, we want them to go because we want to do our things. And Dimi is usually focusing on work in the first half of the day. Yes, I focus on work in the second half of the day. And then we have lunch all together. We insist on having it together. And in the afternoon, it's again it's already a personal choice. And usually the elder ones, as I said, they have their own motivation, their own activities. And for instance, my elder daughter, she has she's going to the local music band every day, every evening actually, and that keeps her very busy. I mean, she's keeping herself very busy, and basketball and some other things. And Nikita, the elder boy, is also busy. He has his music endeavors. He's playing electric guitar, or might be meeting a friend later, or whatever they choose. They actually like to get out in the second half of the day rather than stay. And the younger ones, they just wander around. they do nothing, but they do a lot of things at the same time.
So they have this free flow time.
Yes, and this free flow time is probably 80% of their time in general. And they found some friends, and they spent some time with animals here, and you name it. In the evening, we again get together, and we try to keep it more or less the same time. And this is our family time, 100%. So we try to combine it with some reading or some thoughtful discussion, or we watch something, a documentary or a movie, or we play a game, and this is combined with our dinner. And after that, same as on land.
Yes.
So if I contrast that way to spend time while we are on anchor meaning that we sail and then we drop anchor, then we sail and drop anchor. Maybe we stay on one place for a few days. Then, let's say we try to do pretty much the same thing. That's still our goal. But depending on what's going on, we alter our plans. We're just more flexible, I would say.
But what are the most enjoyable parts of this lifestyle that you have so far in these 2 years? What you really loved?
Not being stressed.
Okay.
Well, apart when the storm is coming.
Yes, it's different type of stress. I would imagine.
I'm a little bit stressed, but it's a normal stress. It's not a created stress that is not worth it. Something else.
Yes, I know. I feel honestly a lot more relaxed than the years when I had to perform almost like a robot, irrespective of if I was, let's say, in the mood or not. It's not even on the mood, but let's say sometimes I cannot perform 100%. But let's say at work, they do not realize that you are expected to perform 100%. So I think that brings stress because you have been given a responsibility. It's not that I don't have responsibility now. I have actually even more, but I'm able to take the decisions myself, and I can structure things the way that I believe it suits me. Similar to school, like in the workforce, you most of the time are not given the chance to capitalize on your strengths. You've been given a job, or let's say that the best case, the fortunate ones are basically working what they have been dreaming, but these are a few exceptions, I would say. And even then it is questionable because you always have to be accountable to someone. And in our case, I have proved to be accountable to the family and to God. Everything else is in my hands. What I mean is you cannot probably reach more independence and autonomy than if you're on a boat or in the space shuttle in space. So yes, you make choices and you see the results immediately. What I mean is you don't wait. If you make a mistake, either nature will show you that you made a mistake or the crew will show you have made a mistake. So you have this ultimate decision that you can make and be responsible for the things that you have chosen. Yeah.
I think I can only add that.
That's what I love.
Yes. I can add that for me, it's the thrill of anticipation when we move from one place to another, and even when we move into the new marina, it's anticipation of seeing new culture and meeting new people, bonding with them, discovering something new about yourself, and the list goes on. I'm just the kind of person that hates monotonous things or monotonous life, and it makes me really depressed. So for me, this life, I think it's a perfect combination of some type of structure, freedom, and adventure. So this adventurous part is, I think, what keeps me going and keeps me motivated, despite, as Dean said before, some difficulties of some discomforts, let's say.
Yeah, you were saying that at the very beginning you were not even sure that you're gonna like it, but
Yes.
so far it
Yeah.
feels like you are. If someone is thinking of pursuing this lifestyle of probably, selling your house or just rent it out and go live abroad, what would you advise to this person or this family?
If you are even considering, of course, thoughtfully considering the change, then there must be plenty of good enough reasons to do it. And usually, people, families, or couples that, or even individuals that are considering a big change, they are ready for it. They just need to cut the line, when almost like on a sailboat, you are getting ready, and then you just have to leave the mooring line or to pick up the anchor and go for it. So it's that last moment that is dragging, that is keeping them scared to do that, or perhaps it's even not the anchor, it's the people that are anchoring them, that are giving them some doubts. But I'm not saying not to be reckless. There is a lot of preparation, but go for it.